Good morning, guys. So,
Good morning, Jonash. Can I ask a question?
yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Hi. So actually, I missed the last two classes. That after that, I recorded. I listened the total classes of the recording. So my question regarding on the golden AMI. So I have a requirement in the client side that using the SharePoint in auto scaling. So basically, SharePoint, when we do the web servers, is a fixed one. If I want to add any new web server, I need to shut down the server and do add into the form, and then bring back to the online. For this case, right? Any suggestion for the SharePoint side, auto scaling and the web servers?
Okay, so I've came across one SharePoint architecture in AWS.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I can share my client share the architecture also. That's the we're looking for it.
So this is the architecture. So basically here we have front-end servers. That is what our EC2 instances. So it is going to run in multiple VPCs. This is mainly focused on the networking part. So basically, whatever the servers we are going to place here, so we can configure auto scaling group.
Okay.
So within that auto scaling group, so you want to whenever you are launching that EC2 instance into auto scaling group to perform those operations, we can pass a script either by using a user data. So or you can take an EC2, for example, you have an EC2 instance. For example, I have an EC2 instance. So when I launch this EC2 instance, this should be member of an Active Directory automatically. It should join to the domain.
Yes, correct.
So for that, you no need to launch a plain operating system. So you no need to you no need to create any script and all. So what you can do, whatever the instance is already member of AD, so you can do sysprep before taking golden AMI. Do the sysprep, then take a golden AMI of this. So now, as you perform this sysprep, whenever you are launching any new instance from this AMI, it will get a new computer name. That technically, that device name. So as this device name is changing, so automatically, as it you already made it member of the domain, so you can simply automatically it will go and it will add to that domain. So only thing here, you need to do the sysprep as this is a Windows machine.
System preparations mean like do we I'm not get quite clearly, but in my mind what I'm assuming that right, the web server which already SharePoint installed, and then we take it as a golden AMI, like all the properties or whatever the settings in required operating system, everything is installed in the AMI.
Yes.
And when I join to the automated scaling group, but we need to join to the form, maybe that new server has to be defined as a server role, whether it is a front end or its application. Those kind of settings we need to do by when we do the form configuration. Obviously the entire portal will go down, the downtime maybe 30 minutes or something like that, depends on the real time. So is there any zero downtime for it, or still don't achieve this by using of this?
Whenever you are using multiple, so you are not delivering your SharePoint with only one server. So you already have some existing servers.
Yes.
So you are provisioning a new server, you are making it part of this auto scaling group. So these existing servers is up and running, right?
No, it will not be, because in the SharePoint, when we do add a new server, any new box on additional existing one, the SharePoint wizard, when we run it, it will impact on the portal side, goes down, the IS resets all will happen in the form level. So I think, okay, maybe I'll do some more background on this. Then I will try to do the lab in the Amazon. Then maybe I can get some more idea.
But I've not seen, like, I have basic experience with SharePoint, like, creating sites, and I used to have site admin permissions in a SharePoint server. So I explored some basic things in SharePoint as well. So, but whenever you're configuring a form, so is all the existing servers will go down. So I don't.
Meaning either like we have to disjoin each server from okay, for example, two scenarios. First scenario, if our existing form, we have to design from the web server and do the whatever the updates, patches, everything, and join to the form again to that particular server.
Yeah.
So same way in the new instance, which I want to fourth instance as a front end. So then I have to join to the form. Yeah. So I think, okay, let me double check on that, whether it really goes down or like, on and off, on and off.
As per my, experience, these existing servers will up and running. It won't go down.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, just double check on that, and
Yeah.
we'll discuss again.
So the system preparations is nothing but prerequisites of the SharePoint installation operating system and everything in the new golden AMI. That's all. So
Yes.
from there,
Yes, mainly
just
for Windows instances. Yes.
So yeah, so application server separate golden AMI, web front end server separate golden AMI. We need to prepare.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Got it. Thank you, Anish.
So, any other question before starting today's session, guys? All right. So here in today's session, we are going to start with AWS CLI. So when coming to CLI, so in our IAM session, I told you that, okay, whenever we are creating an IAM user, we are going to get two access types, programmatic access and management console access. Now you guys know what exactly management console access is. When coming to the programmatic access, so we are going to get an access key ID and secret access key. So whenever you're selecting programmatic access, we are going to get access key ID and secret access key here, right? So now whatever the access key ID you got, so how we can configure and how to use that, we are going to discuss now. So for example, from my local machine, I want to access some AWS environment. So for that, first of all, by defaultly, if you open your terminal, if you are just giving AWS, it will tell you is not a recognized or internal or external command. Whenever you are just giving AWS command, I have given additional yes. I just want to show this error. So, but once you install these AWS CLI tools, aws.amazon.com/CLI. Once you download CLI tools and once you install, whenever you are giving this AWS, it will tell you, okay, these are the commands, and also it will give you some help guides also. So it is detecting what exactly AWS command is. See this help command, what exactly service you are looking for. For example, you are looking for help related to S3, then give S3, then space help. Sorry, I gave typo. Help. So it shows, okay, what is a service, what is a command. So then it is going to show you all the things. CP is a command, MV is a command, RV is a RM. CP is for copy, MV is for move, RM is for remove. Sync is to synchronize from source or destination. MB make bucket, RB remove bucket, LS list something. So then you can get all the help document. These are the available commands for S3. So but whenever you are using like AWS CLI for S3, only these commands. So for example, you want to enable versioning or you want to see versioned object, that is not possible. So you need to go with these available commands only. And these available commands, I am not right. I have not written. It is came from AWS only. So don't ask me why we don't have to view version. Don't why can't we list that and all. So right. So I'll share you a help article and I'll show you a couple of things where you can get all the commands and all. So Now I want to list all the buckets. ls is for list the buckets. So AWS, the syntax, common syntax is AWS space service name, then the command or argument, right? AWS space S3 space, what command you want to test, ls. I have given ls and it is giving an error occurred while calling list bucket operations and all. So first of all, I need to create a user. Then I need to give, I need to perform the configuration that in my local machine. Right before that, I want to verify whether the CLI got installed or not. AWS is recognized, so CLI is installed. But to double confirm, you can give AWS space -" version. So it is returning okay. AWS CLI 1.16.107 is installed. Just to verify, AWS space - version. AWS CLI 2.0 also released. So let me upgrade that. However, I'm planning to upgrade that aws.amazon.com/CLI. So here is an option to download and run the 64-bit installer. Click on this. If you are using Mac OS, download this package and install this. And if you are using any Linux, so you have a Linux installer here, you can just go and you can download that based on your operating system. Whether it is a Debian or just go here, you can pick. So you need to do this CLI version 2. Now I'm going to download this for Windows. Click on that. So automatically it is downloaded. See, Windows CLI version 2 got downloaded into my local machine. Now let's install that. So then need to close this. Typical Windows installation, just next and finish. Okay, come on, it's taking too long time to get the space requirements. So I have a S3 cheat sheet. I'm going to share that once we're done with the session. Come on. Migrating feature. Next, I accept. Next, install. So once this installation is completed, you can use your command prompt to access AWS environment. AWS space - version. Okay. So even after implementing AWS SSO single sign-on also, we are going to use same mechanism. Like you must have AWS CLI tools. So then we are going to configure AWS. So there we are going to get an additional option that is session token. So whatever the session we are going to activate or whatever the credentials we are generating, So that credentials is going to work only for like, certain duration, like a 1 hour, or after 1 hour, the credentials is going to expire. You need to create a new credentials. So, but mechanism is going to be same. Just try to understand the mechanism. I'll show you both. Right. So this is taking too long time than expected. All right. So once this installation is completed, you can go and you can. So now when coming to these commands related to S3. So AWS space S3 space ls is to list the buckets. So AWS space S3 space ls, then you can give URI S3:// then you can give bucket name. So whenever you are giving this bucket name, ls is to list. So list objects from the bucket, and AWS space S3 space, then again, what is a command? So now you can give like, CP is for copy, then syntax is source path, then space destination path. So source, for example, you want to copy something from your local laptop. So you have some files and folders under this folder. So then you have object. So then you want to upload it to copy it to S3 bucket. Then you can give the bucket name. So CP is for copy. So you can copy everything. So then, or you can change source or destination paths. It definitely works. And one of the very common command we use with S3 is sync command. AWS space S3 space sync, then source path and destination path. So it is going to maintain a synchronized copy between our source and destination. So after you run this command, whatever the files modified from last, sync, then only those files are going to be uploaded or downloaded, right? Based on the source or destination path you are giving. So let me quickly show you all these, but this is taking too long time to install. And we can use MB command. So to make a bucket, AWS space S3 space MB, then S3://, then you can give bucket name. So in what region you want to create, give -- region name. So whatever the region you are selecting, so you can give region code, then this bucket is going to create. If you're not giving any region code, so it is going to pick a region that we initially, whenever we perform initial configuration, whatever the default region we are giving, it is going to pick that region. Okay. So how exactly, once you install this CLI tools, now we need to configure the CLI user. For that, the command is AWS configure. AWS space configure. So whenever you are giving this AWS space configure, it will ask us what is the access key ID. We need to enter. What is the secret access key? We need to enter. So then what is the default region you're going to pick while executing any command, and what is the output format? So we can choose these things, what region we have and what access key ID. So now let's go to IAM and let me create an IAM user, and let me keep that credentials ready before this installation completes. So I hope everybody know how to create that IAM user, right? So navigate to users, add user. What is a username? The username, I'm going to call this as CLI user. What type of access, what access type you want to give? Programmatic access. See, we are going to get an access key ID and secret access key. Then click on next. What is the permissions you want to allocate to this user? So you want to make him part of S3 group, or you want to copy permission from an existing user, or else you want to associate policy directly. I will associate policy directly. I'm going to give only S3 full access. Then click on next, review. create user. So now we are going to get a access key ID and secret access key. Remember, these access key ID and secret access key is going to generate only once. If you fail to store that and if you click on close, you cannot regenerate again the same one. You can delete this existing one, you can create a new pair of key. That is possible, but the same one we cannot. Okay, so that is important thing. So here the installation is completed. Now I think we should reboot or let's verify AWS space -- version, and I think we need to reboot. That's okay. All the commands works here, no issues at all. So here we need to configure instead of rebooting and wasting that. The commands and everything is same for version 2 and version 1. So just some improvements, some new services added there. Nothing more than that. So we are able to get what exactly version is installed here. So we are able to see now we need to configure this user in our command prompt. So for that we can give AWS space configure, then click on enter. For example, you have access to multiple AWS environments. So you have access to prod and you have access to non-prod and you want to configure both. Then we have a concept called profile. You can give -- profile, you can give what is the profile name. But whatever the command you are going to execute, you need to give, for example, you have prod profile. So you want to list all the buckets from production environment. Then you need to give -- profile called prod. So this mechanism we do have. I'll show you. At moment I am going with the default. So AWS space configure, click on enter. So then it is asking me to enter access key ID. This is my access key ID. Then secret access key. Given secret access key. Default region AP South -1. Default output format. Let me go with the none at moment. I'll show you output format. So now I have performed that configuration. I performed that configuration. Right. So now earlier when I go and when I'm trying to execute these commands, it's shown an error. But this time when I gave AWS space S3 space ls, see, I'm able to see all my S3 buckets here. These all are the S3 buckets I have in my AWS environment. See, Avinash, this I created for elastic load balancers. Avinash is a bucket, Avispa is a bucket, right? So I want to list something from Avinash bucket. AWS space. AWS is a common command now. S3 is a service we are using. ls s3:// what is the bucket name? Give the bucket name. It will show you. I have only one object, that is upload.7z. For example, in Avinash bucket, how many objects we have? We can give. Okay, I have total 3 files here within this bucket. So now I want to download one of the object from my S3 bucket to my local path, local machine. So for that, the command I have shown is AWS space S3 space CP. So AWS space S3 space CP, then source. Where is our file? S3:// Avinash is a bucket, and within that AWS.pdf I want to download. Okay, given that, then the destination. Destination is nothing but our local path. So I'll go to this F drive. ADS is a folder, and I am navigating to this test directory. So here I want to download it. So I'm given space, then local path, then click on enter. So immediately see this AWS.pdf got downloaded to my local machine. So similarly, whatever the data you have inside an S3 bucket, you want to download everything into your local machine? Yes, you can do that. For example, let me pick a bucket. For example, Naresh IT is a bucket. Whatever the data I have in that bucket, I want to maintain a synchronized copy here. So for that, I can give AWS space S3 space sync. What is a bucket? Naresh, IT is a bucket. What is a local path? I given local path. When I click on enter, so automatically what are all the data I have inside that Naresh IT? Those all things is downloading here. See this? Those are all the files I have inside that bucket, and it is downloading everything into my local machine. I have a lot of data inside that bucket. Exam, EC2 exam. This document I'm going to share after a couple of sessions. That is a quiz on EC2. Some images related to, like, Lambda and some project. I'm going to share all this document with you guys in our coming session. AWS architectural diagrams, auditing checklist, operational checklist, how we perform in our AWS account periodically. Right. So see all the files. Still two more files are there. Exam.mp4. That is, I wrote an exam. While writing that exam, I taken some screen recording and all. So I'll share you this one also. This is a real exam, how exactly it looks like. Right. So these are some questions. Don't worry about all those things. I'll share in right time. Right. So that is a sync. So now, for example, if I rerun this command again, is it going to download everything again? No, it will verify. So, it will verify and it is going to check, whether all the data is available in local and here or not. So seems one file permission issue, forget about that. So it will verify. And if you change the source or destination path, whatever modification happen in your local, only those files are going to upload. For example, I'm creating a new file here, test1.txt. This is the only new file after performing the synchronization. So I'm going to give sync command here. See here, instead of uploading everything, only two files got uploaded. One is test1, another one is pdf.aws.pdf. So those two files added or modified into my source. Only those files got uploaded here. So if you want to create a new bucket, AWS space S3 space MB S3:// give a random bucket name. So then you can give --= region, then give the bucket name. Otherwise, while we are configuring, we have given right. So it will try to create a bucket automatically. That is a make bucket command. And by using this CLI, we have an option called pre-sign URL concept. Pre-sign URL means the URL. So we can generate a URL that expires after certain duration. Generate URL that can expire after certain duration. That can expire after certain duration. So for that, we can use pre-sign command. So for that, AWS space S3 space pre-sign. Then for what object you want to generate? AWS space S3 space S3://. Then for example, Naresh IT is a bucket. Within that we have an object. What is that object name? So let me take this EC2 exam.pdf. So this file need to expire after some time. I need to get a URL. That URL should be accessible for coming 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 1 hour. Then that should expire after some time. Right. So then we can use this. So we can directly give this, the URL is going to work for 1 hour. Otherwise, we can give expire command. In how many seconds it need to expire? For example, it need to expire in 60 seconds. Then we can give it. So, but directly, if you navigate to S3 bucket, if you try to access that file, So you no need to make bucket publicly accessible and all. For example, if you are taking Naresh IT bucket, see this bucket, I'm going to enable block public access. So whenever block public access is enabled, is this object can be shared with anyone? Definitely not, right? So I have an object called ec2exam.pdf. So this is the publicly accessible URL. Is this URL working? No. So you cannot share this object with anyone. But by using this pre-sign mechanism, we can share this object. I'm going to show you that. AWS space S3 pre-sign. Then what for what object you want to generate the pre-sign URL? S3:/ Naresh IT slash EC2 exam.pdf is an object. Now, if I click on enter, it is going to generate a URL and this URL is going to work for coming 1 hour. Okay, so just copy this URL, then paste it here. See, this object is working. I'm able to see this object, it is loading. Now, instead of this, I want to get a URL that works for coming 60 seconds. Same command -expire. I'm going to give 20 seconds. So now the command generated, it's a different URL. The command generated a pre-signed URL. And see here, this is a S3 quiz document. I'll share you this. Okay. So EC2 quiz document, I'll share you. So I'm able to access this without any difficulty. Even you can access that. But after 20 seconds, what happened? I got access then, right? Why? Because that URL we generated got expired. So that is a pre-sign concept in our S3. Okay. So these are the available commands, and this is how exactly we use in AWS. So some organizations will use SSO, single sign-on. So in that case, see, now we have performed like, AWS configure and the credentials got stored here, right? Or you have multiple AWS accounts. So how we can use the profile, I'll show you. So now, generally, we don't share this access key ID and secret access key to the users. So we always use this SSO single sign-on. So there, for every account, we are going to get a temporary access key ID and secret access keys that we are going to configure. So now we are performing these AWS configure and all, where that credentials are going to stored, So those credentials are going to store in our local device under C drive. So now I'm working as Avinash Reddy user. Inside this Avinash Reddy user profile, navigate to users. Avinash Reddy user .aws is a directory. Here we have a files.config and credentials. Whatever the things I have configured, I can find that here. Whenever you open this credentials file, you can find. So at moment we have only this default one. Forget about this. I used for different purpose. See, this is what access key ID, secret access key I got. So if you observe the access key ID VMXU, see this VMXU, right? So at moment we have only default profile. And whatever the remaining things we configured, like what is the default region it need to pick, default output format it need to pick, here it will pick. For example, you will have only default. See this, for default you are going to have only this. Now I have two environments and I want to configure. So in that case, we need to create another IAM user. We can do that. Or whenever you have multiple environments, this password, every time I forgot this. I'll show with another IAM user. So for example, this CLI user is there. So I have another environment, add user. So I'm going to call that user as a prod, programmatic access, permissions. So this user like is a member of S3, tag, review, create user. Now I have two users. One user is a CLI user, another user is a prod user. So I want to access prod environment once and that CLI environment, in that case, what you can do, don't just go and give AWS space configure. So you have account one and account two. In that case, just give profile. So then give account one or account two. This time I'm going to configure it for prod environment. Earlier we haven't given anything, so it is going to pick as a default. So I have given -- profile prod. Then click on enter. Then it is going to ask us what is the access key ID. Then I'm going to give access key ID. Give it. Then secret access key. Grab the secret access key and give it here. Then what is the default region? It is showing none. I'm going to give API-south-1 and default output format as a none. So now I have two credentials here. If I go and see here some modification, see we have multiple profiles. We have default profile and prod profile, and here also we have default profile and prod profile. For this we have different access key ID, secret access key. For this different access key ID and secret access key. Okay, now if I give AWS space S3 space LS, by defaultly it will pick default credentials. But I want to execute this command by using another profile called prod. So I can give -- profile prod, click on enter. There you can see I'm able to get that output. So but this time we are using the credentials configured with this. Those credentials we are using, right? That is a mechanism, profile mechanism. So in a single machine, you can configure 10 AWS accounts and you can access it by using this profile. Okay. And so whenever you're using SSO, single sign-on, so you need to add one more thing here. We are going to get another thing. So that is a session token. It is going to generate automatically. Session token is equal to, it is a very lengthy one, it is going to create, right? So these this is going to, this credentials generated here, access key and secret access key generated here is going to work temporarily, right? So that is another thing. So frequently the credentials are going to rotate after for every 1 hour or every 2 hours. So a bit more secured. If someone got these credentials also, you don't need to worry, right? So this is with S3. For example, if you are taking IAM, so you want to see what are all the commands available and where we can get all the commands and all. So for that, we can use this CLI reference guide. So whenever you navigate to the CLI, here is a CLI reference guide. Click on that CLI reference. It shows you all the services. What service related commands you required. For example, I need command related to IAM. Click on that IAM. Then scroll down to the bottom. These are the commands we have here. These are the available commands. For example, I want to create an IAM user. Right. So for that, for example, you want to create a user. So then create, where is that? Create user. So click on that command. So then it shows you all the available commands for this. So here is a syntax. So AWS space IAM create user. What is the username you want to give? Then go here and give. It is going to show you this. So now I want to create. Okay, even create username Bob. So I'm just giving that same user is going to create in my AWS account. So here, if I give refresh, see, What happened? Access denied. So we are not able to create an IAM user. Why? Why? Because whatever the configured user here, for example, I have given only S3 full access to this user and he is trying to perform something in IAM. So he is not going to. So he cannot perform. So what we need to do, we need to give the required permissions. Go here, add permissions, attach existing policies directly. I'm going to provide IAM access also. Or else simply you can give administrator access also. So he can. So now if we go and if we try to execute this command and it is going to work. See here, the user got created. We can find same here under the users. Give a quick refresh. So Bob user got created. So similarly, now user got created. So you want to attach user a policy. Then go here, scroll down. Here is the syntax. AWS IAM attach user policy. What is a policy ARN? So what policy you want to associate? You can give the policy to what user you want to associate. Then grab it. This is what, like, the policy ARN. So we have administrator access policy. Go to policies, administrator access policy. This is a policy ARN. Copy that. So then give that here. This is a policy ARN. For what user you want to give? For a user called Bob, I want to give. Then copy that. So give that command here. Come on, it's not copied. So it's capital B, first thing. Copy. And I'm going to so now the policy got associated to this Bob user. So some time back there is no policy associated, but see now we have given administrator access. Similarly, if you want to delete a user, so trust me, no one is going to remember all these commands, guys. If you take just one service, those many commands are there. So who is going to remember all these commands? So understand the syntax and just apply that. If you're taking EC2, in EC2 you can find hell lot of commands again. See, navigate to EC2. So these many commands available. Are you going to remember all these commands? Obviously not, right? So understand the mechanism, how we can configure the CLI, how we can, what is the syntax, what is the profile mechanism, and how you are accessing. And sometimes whenever you are trying to perform something, you might get error or it will take too long time to respond and you don't know why the command is not executing and all. So in that case, you can add debug parameter. So for example, I'm giving AWS space S3 space ls, command is executed. I want to see how the command is executing. For that, AWS space S3 space ls --- debug. Whenever you're giving this --- debug, click on enter. It see here same output, but before giving the output, what it is doing? It is performing all these things. What temporary credentials it have picked? That also we can find it here. See, these are the temporary credentials. See, these are credentials temporarily. It got picked, right? So those all things. So where exactly it is stopping and what is the issue? So you can go here. Sometimes at this URL itself, it's going to struck and connecting to HTTPS. Many times, like, whenever you're using private subnet. So connecting to this HTTP S3 AP South 1, in this stage itself, it is going to struck many times. So that is related to endpoints and all. But this is a like a --- debug parameter will tell you, okay, where it is causing and how exactly it is working in backend. So you can add --- debug to any command to see how command is executing. Mainly while troubleshooting, it will definitely help us. Now, okay, I want to access EC2. Do I have any servers handle? I want to verify. AWS space EC2. Again, describe instances. So if we have any EC2 instance, it is going to show all the information, but it is not showing. Basically, this S3 and IAM is a global resource. So you don't need to define any region parameter. So now here I'm not giving any region parameter, but it is displaying the result. So the reason is we have configured the default one. I want to list all the instances from different region, EU Central 1, that is a Frankfurt region. So if I want to display something from Frankfurt region, I can give that region parameter, then only it shows from that. Okay, so that is another thing. And so we will configure the same thing in Linux operating system. So important thing is your credentials are going to stored in plain text format in this particular location. I'm working as this user, so it got stored in this location. Under user directory, we have a folder called .aws. There you are going to have config and credentials. Okay, so here you can find that. Now the output format, whenever you are configuring, it is given output, right? So I'm getting an S3 bucket, but I want to get that S3 bucket in a table format. AWS space S3 space ls, it just listing, but I want to get in table format. AWS space S3 space ls, hyphen output. You can give JSON, you can give table format. So you can give like text format. So for this it is not going to show much, but whenever you are using AWS space IAM list users output is a table format. So the users and its information is created in this and it's showing in a table format. See, this is a table. So same command, if I don't give this table, it is going to show in JSON format. Same, I'm removing this hyphen output table parameter. If I give, so it is showing all the users, but it is showing in JSON format. See, same thing. Earlier command also same, this command also same. But so here you will get it in table format. So very less times we use this CLI, guys. For example, your manager asked you, hey Avinash, can you get all the S3 bucket names? So in that scenario, going to this S3 platform and writing down all the 38 names be difficult, right? But with a simple command, AWS space S3 space ls, right? Now it is going to list, but I don't want to write the output here in the console. If I click on enter, output is displaying in console, but I want to get it to a document called bucket.txt. Click on enter. So the output is written to a folder called a file called bucket. Navigate to C drive, users, Avinash Reddy. So here we have a file that is a bucket and this contain all the files. See, these all are the buckets. This file got created just some time back. 324.823. It got created. Okay. So in such type of scenarios, you can use this. See this pipe symbol I already explained in our Linux session. Okay. So I'm instead of displaying output in the console itself, I'm piping that output to a particular file. So this you can use. Right. So that is another one. So when coming to Linux instance, so accessing the same from a Linux EC2 instance. So let me quickly launch an EC2 instance. So launch instance. I'm going to take Amazon Linux 2 AMI, T2 Micro. I'm going with all the default options, storage 8 gigs, tags. So this is with CLI. And I'm going to choose an existing security group and it is a Linux SG review launching using a key pair. I have a question here, guys. So this EC2 instance is running in my AWS environment. So if I get connected to this EC2 instance, can I access my S3 resource or IAM resources? From this EC2 instance, can I see how many S3 buckets I have, how many IAM users I have?
If you pass that credentials as a IAM profile, maybe we can
Is
access our.
EC2 hyphen user, uh, you have to copy the credentials. Yes, you have to copy the credentials like we are doing in Windows. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
without configuring these CLI credentials.
Yeah.
See, this EC2 instance, even though it is my AWS environment only, but it won't give any access to other resources, AWS resources. So we must configure the CLI user how exactly we did in our local machine. So then only we can. So let me quickly get connected to this instance. It's cmd ssh-i keypad ec2 user @ public IP address and give yes sudo space su. So now I got connected to this EC2 instance. I haven't configured anything. So let me verify AWS version. AWS CLI is there here. All right. So now I want to access S3 bucket. So AWS space S3 space ls. See, it is saying unable to locate the credentials. We need to run AWS configure. So even if it is trying to get information about EC2 instance also, describe instances will give EC2 information. It is saying you must specify a region. All right, AWS space EC2 space describe instances region AP South -1. So again, it is telling unable to locate the credentials. So here also you need to perform that CLI configuration. AWS space configure. Then what is the access key ID? I think I did closed it. We can generate 2 pairs of access key IDs for this user. Create access key ID. So this is my access key ID. Then what is the secret access key? So then what is the default region? I'm going to give Mumbai as a default region. Output format, I'm giving table default output format. So now AWS space S3 space ls, I'm able to get AWS space EC2 describe instances. There you can see I'm able to get all the information about my EC2 instance. So this time it is giving output default in table format. Why? Because while configuring some time back, while configuring that CLI user, so I choose that particular option, right? So that's a reason. That's the reason it is giving all the output in tabular format. So in Linux operating system, where the credentials are going to stored. So in Linux, the credentials are going to stored in our home directory. Give cd space tilt. Below to escape, you will find tilt symbol. It will take you to home page. So to verify, print working directory, we are under /root. If you are giving ls, it is showing nothing. But there is a hidden directory. How we can see that? -a. I have given ls space -a. So then there is a directory called .aws. If you go inside the .aws, see this cd space .aws. Now we are under .aws directory. If you give ls, we have config file, credentials file. So if you're cat into that credentials document, see this is the access key ID and secret access key. This is a access key ID and secret access key we have. So here also the credentials are storing in a plain text format in our EC2 instance. Right. So this is a path. So what is the alternative option we have? We have 2 alternative options. One is, if your EC2 instance or resource in AWS environment, if your resource is in AWS environment, use roles. So Amazon strongly suggests to use roles instead of CLI. AWS strongly suggests, but these roles works within AWS environment only. For outside environment, use temporary credentials. How we can use the temporary credentials, I'll show you in our SS4 session, single sign-on. There I'll explain you. So if you are too curious, I'll just show you. Forget about how I am configuring SS4 and all. Don't worry about how I am configuring SS4. Just try to understand that. I forgot my username, and this is happening pretty frequently. I reset password, generate one-time password. Generally, we have a SS4 mechanism also, guys, single sign-on mechanism also to our AWS to log into AWS. So there, temporary password, right? Sign in, current password and new password. This time I'm forgetting everything. It is my mobile. It's not in handy. Okay, now set new password. Don't worry how we got this and how we came to this page and what exactly it is showing. So whenever you go to AWS sign in, it shows for how many AWS accounts you have access. So now, for example, I want to log into this particular account. I can go here, I can pick that account. So then you want to log in as a AWS management console, you can click on that. You will log into that AWS account using management console. That is one option. You want to access same AWS environment by using command line interface. So click on command line or programmatic access. If it is a Windows or Linux, you can Windows is this. So now these are the credentials. See here also we are getting access key ID. We are getting secret access key. I'm going to paste that here. See here also we are getting access key ID, secret access key, but along with that we are getting a temporary session token. So this is more secured. So we are using temporarily user tokens. So if I want to access this, yeah, I can do that from my local machine. I can go to this PC, C drive, users, Avinash Reddy, AWS, and here I need to add the information. So far we have default profile, prod profile, and now I'm adding another profile. So if you even find, for example, if you want to copy these and if you want to configure, it is easy. But this one, so this token is very, very lengthy one, how you are going to get it. And we can even give a valid name also. So for example, this is SSO account. Then click on save. Now from my local machine, if I want to access something by using that profile, see AWS space S3 space LS -- profile SSO. What is the name I given? SSO account. See, it is going to show us the S3 buckets we have inside that bucket. See, here also it is working, but we are using a temporary credentials. After some time, after 1 hour, if I'm trying to execute same command, or if you copied these commands, like bit difficult to copy, somehow you got it, that is going to expire within some time. So outside of the environment, use temporary credentials along with session token. Okay, this is a mechanism we follow for our local machines and all within AWS environment. So use roles instead of CLI within AWS environment. So it is a 10 minutes topic. If you are okay, we can continue. Otherwise, we will discuss tomorrow. So I really don't want to extend the sessions every single day. Last 2 sessions I have extended. Right. So are you good to extend this, or else we will discuss that tomorrow? That roles, how we can configure roles and all. Please respond, guys.
So we can do it tomorrow if you don't mind. Like it's 11.
Yeah, sure, definitely. So yeah, I really don't want to put any load or stress. So we will discuss that tomorrow. Right. So let's take a couple of tasks here. So launch an EC2 instance using CLI. Okay. Launch an EC2 instance using CLI. Whenever you are launching an EC2 instance using CLI, initially you need to have some basic information. That basic information is what is the AMI ID, what is the subnet ID. Subnet is nothing but within VPC you are going to have a subnet ID. Then what is the security group ID, and what is a key pair that you need to. Okay, so and I'll tell you one tool. First keep these things ready, then launch an EC2 instance using CLI. Just try to perform it. Second one, task 2. So this is recently we got this requirement for one of the client that he have, like, you know, a local folder is there and AWS S3 bucket, local folder data and AWS S3 data should be in synchronization. So they are actually using Linux instance. So how can we execute a command? So the sync command periodically. How can we execute sync command periodically? Using cron tab. Basically this is for Linux, and for Windows, task scheduler. Use task scheduler to execute a command periodically. So you know the command. The command is AWS space S3 space sync and the source path and destination path. So this command need to execute for every 30 minutes. So in Linux, we have a mechanism called, like, you know, cron tab mechanism. You can add what command need to execute, how frequently it need to execute, that you can. In Windows, we have an option called task scheduler.
So in Windows, we can use the .bat and we can give that try. Can use that way.
Yes. You can create a batch file, and you can, but where you are going to, how you are going to execute that batch file for every 30 seconds, 30 minutes.
Task scheduler just repeating the timings.
Yeah, that's what I'm mentioning.
Okay.
So go to task scheduler and try to execute this command. So write this command into a file, or manually also you can give the file. So here simply create a task scheduler and give that. Create a task or create a basic task, what it need to do, how frequently it need to execute, that you can configure here in task scheduler. Right? This is a one scenario we faced recently, so I'm added that as a task. Okay. So if you're using Mac OS and all, try to perform that cran tab. Or you can do one thing. If you are facing, like, you know, get familiar with this cran tab. I have explained this in our Linux course. Launch a Linux EC2 instance. We launched a Linux EC2 instance, right? So here try to perform that cron tab, right? So that is another task here. And task 3, explore CLI builder. I'll talk about this. When coming to this CLI builder, so this is developed by Prasad Domala. And that CLI builder. So whenever you go to the clibuilder.com is a website. So what CLI command you want to execute? So if you give the parameters, then it is going to give the, like, what is the command handle. For example, I'm looking for S3, simple storage service. So these are the available commands, right? I want to create or I want to remove bucket. So then what is a bucket URI? So here in what region your bucket is there, you can select it. Okay, my bucket is in Mumbai region. In what output format you want to get, you can. What is a profile name? So I want to delete this by using prod profile, or give the profile name. So this is a basic information we need to provide. If you don't give anything here, it picks default. So required parameters. What is a S3 name? Okay, I want to create a bucket. I need to pick the bucket name. So then simply we can give the bucket name. For example, you want to delete S3 bucket. This S3 bucket. See here, based on the parameters we have given, it is creating a command AWS space S3 space RB, remove a bucket. This is a bucket name. In what region that bucket is there, and give the output format in JSON and use this particular profile. So simply, if you are filling this, command is generating. If you are taking EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, so it is going to pick all that. So here 272 CLI commands just for EC2, right? So now you want to create a volume. For example, you want to create a volume. Where is that? Create volume. Now, in what region you want to create, what profile you want to use, in what availability zone you want to, in AP South 1A availability zone I want to create. And here, whenever you go to, what is do you want to, what snapshot ID you want to enable? Do you want to enable encryption or dry run? What is the size? I want to create a volume with size 1. So automatically see this. AWS EC2 describe volume in what availability zone, what is the size it need to, and do you want to enable encryption, no encryption, what region it is going to pick, and what profile it is going to use. If you want to create a snapshot, what is the availability zone, for what volume you want to create an availability zone. See, whenever you are creating a snapshot, for what volume you want to create a snapshot. For example, you have a volume, this is a volume ID. If you are giving this volume ID, there you can see it is automatically giving the command and it is picking. So not only for this service, you can get for any services. For example, KMS is there. So I shown you one thing. In KMS we have 250 keys, 240 keys. Suddenly my manager asked me, hey Avinash, get all the KMS keys. This happened. So, I need to get all the KMS key names, and also manually copying and pasting is not at all good idea, right? So list keys, in what region you want to, no other parameters required. This is a command AWS KMS list keys from this Mumbai region. And now this output, I'm going to write it to a file and I'm going to share it in a minute. Right. So such type of easy administration things we can perform, and try to get familiar with this. And even code pipeline, we face this code pipeline. There is approximately 60 pipelines available in my environment. So we need to get all the pipeline names, list the pipelines. With a single command, we got all the pipeline names. Yeah. Such type of ones you can use. So this is a web page, AWS CLI builder. You can generate any CLI command, and I personally use this. So I'm suggesting you to go through this. So even to create an EC2 instance also, go here, what is a suitable command to create instance, and here also you can search. So do we have anything to launch instance? No. Create, go here, find the option, or launch. Then go and find that option. So then choose what are the parameters it is asking. Just observe the So just observe what is the parameters it is asking. Get that parameters from console and execute it. And this is a CLI documentation. This is a reference documentation from AWS. This is another one. It's an official reference documentation. This is from CLI Builder. Right. So I hope this is clear. So any questions before closing the session, guys?
So Vinash, for executing every command, right, I need to give the profile each time if I want to choose if I want to run a command using a profile, or can I set it for a session?
You can, for example, every day for coming 1 hour, you are going to use this. Make it as a default. Then give a temporary name for this.
Okay.
So then you don't need to give.
Okay, it's not like for each command. I have to come over here and then change, right?
Yes. So whenever you are using multiple things, yeah, definitely you need to go with that mechanism only.
Okay.
And whatever the credentials I generated, I'm going to delete all the credentials. Don't try to copy or don't try to use that credentials. I'm going to use that, delete that users. All right. So yeah, that's it for today's session. So we are going to discuss about roles in our coming session. Roles is a very small part. Then we are going to discuss about systems manager, beanstack, and all. So I'm uploading that here, and I have a S3 CLI cheat sheet. So all the commands related to S3. S3 CLI. So this is a document. So if you want to copy something, so you can use this document to get all the commands. So I'm going to share that also into our GitHub S3 CLI, right? So commit the changes. Okay. So that's it for today's session. See you again tomorrow, guys. Thank you. If you have anything, you can post in our Slack channel. Thank you.